Okay, guys. First of all, thanks a million for taking the time to speak to us. And Ben, obviously, this is your second movie as director. When the Hollywood Reporter calls your first movie the greatest crime movie of the decade, is there slightly more pressure down for your follow-up for yourself?
Well, yes, obviously they're trying to destroy me. It's that was the rare piece of hyperbole. I really just was kind of trying to set sort of a limited goals and fulfill them, and I got lucky. I got this wonderful cast, and so that helped.
And how do you go about assembling a cast such as this with Rebecca and with John Hamm? Matt Damon said something before Gone Baby Gone came out. He said everybody's going to want to work with Ben after this. Rebecca, was that the case? After you saw Gone Baby Gone, was that something that really obviously drew you to this project?
Absolutely.
That and the money.
Yeah. no. It was, I think Gone Baby Gone definitely had that effect. I mean, I know I saw it and thought... But then, I have to say, before Gone Baby Gone, I always thought that Ben was a really talented actor, and I always thought that he was a really smart guy and capable of probably doing all sorts of things that he put his mind to. So, I was... I think I would have done it anyway, reading the script on the basis of meeting him.
You just weren't sure if you could direct or not yet till you actually saw Baby Gone and were like, oh, that's good, fair enough.
Yeah.
She was just, I'm telling you, I just cajoled and manipulated and bribed her into
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Not so much the last movie as the sack of money. The last movie too.
Yeah, from the concert.
Right.
But you're obviously under an awful lot of pressure as director, writer, and star. Who do you look to for feedback, or do you look to for feedback, or also if you're doing a scene with Rebecca, do you crave a little bit of feedback? You don't give them notes or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember doing a scene where we were in the. I had this sort of endless speech at this one point in the movie, and it's kind of difficult to figure out exactly. Where the line was that I should have kind of been on, and I have such respect and admiration for Rebecca as an actress and her sensibility. So doing the scene with her was like very easy to go like, well, what do you think? Is this She was very helpful, and I think you have to be. I think my frankly strongest quality is that I understand when to rely on others. When you're working with her, I thought like, well, she clearly understands this sort of stuff. I asked her the question, and I think you're a fool if you decide that like you know it all and you're not going to that you know better than everyone else.
Well, your character, Rebecca Clare, she's very much the heart of the movie. She's kind of the sole innocent. Is that a bit more responsibility then, kind of taking on that role, because the audience really kind of has to like Clare and by the conflict then?
I don't know if it's more of a responsibility than anything else. I think there's I suppose there was definitely, I was aware of like treading a line between maintaining something that was credible and subtle and unstated, and not overplaying the victim stuff and not overplaying the emotional stuff or the vulnerable stuff or the stronger stuff, and just making her a kind of balanced individual was a tricky kind of balancing act going on, but it was. I think that's probably the same with most acting jobs. I think you always have to think of those things.
Okay, and Ben, you got to shoot in Fenway Park, the Red Sox. What was that like as an experience? Was that a dream come true to get to play there?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to film there.
I always wanted to be a professional baseball player, and when I was 9 years old and the fifth best guy on the team, I figured that probably wasn't going to happen. So this was the best shot I had, and it's the equivalent of probably whatever the big football stadium here is, the thing that people really look up to in Boston. That's the
cathedral.
It is. It really is, and it's such a big deal. And so to even just to be able to have it, semi to ourselves for a week and a half felt like an enormous privilege. We later on screened the movie there, which was a real thrill for me personally.
The premiere there,
yeah, and it was great. I mean, it was the fulfillment of a real boyhood fantasy. I almost felt like sheepishly, adolescent about it, but I enjoyed it.
Both you guys must be absolutely delighted with where your careers are at the moment. Rebecca, you had Please Give there a few months ago as well, which was a really wonderful film. Yeah. Are you just happy what direction it's going in now? He's content and that he's you're the master of his own future as such, as director and as an actress as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much anyone's the master of their own future, but I will say that I'm very contented with the way things are going. I've had sort of great opportunities. People still haven't. I think one of my biggest aspirations as an actor is to not be pigeonholed too much and not to be thought of as doing any one type of role, and getting to play a large range and breadth and mix of characters and people who are different to my experiences. And I've been able to do that so far, and hopefully people will keep letting me.
I'm also very happy with how Rebecca's career is going.
You got the Company Men coming out as well. You're working with Terrence Malick next.
Yeah, I've really been lucky to work with some pretty great people recently. Company Men is coming out now. I'm not sure exactly when it'll land here, but probably roughly around late October when it lands in the States. And it's really a lovely movie. It's about the economic crisis, but not a sort of down movie about it. It's kind of about rediscovering, your values and finding out kind of who you are and breaking away this notion that our identity is tied to the people we work for. I know Ireland's had some similar difficulties that we've had to the difficulties we had in the United States in terms of the banks and the economy and unemployment and so on. So perhaps I hope it's something that the Irish will be able to identify with and enjoy watching.
I think it's going to resonate everywhere. Well, guys, thank you for your time. Pleasure to meet the bodies.
Thanks so much.